and cold if possible. Antifreeze is essential. Make sure it's fresh and rated for sub-zero weather. And if your car freezes up,
get it into a warm place, get it thawed out, drain what you have in there, flush the system out, and refill it with new.
Some car problems can't be avoided, like this. A wind gust caused this camper shell to blow off its truck into a Cadillac.
We saw, my mother says, that cab doesn't look like it's on there, and it flew off.
He got past so far, I thought, well, it was okay, and all of a sudden, here it came and hit us.
Oh, I came back around to find my camper, and I found it on top of the car.
There were no serious injuries. And then there was the water. Water from an apparent broken main seeping through the cracks on Rural Street between New York and Michigan, causing ice problems. But this ice was no problem at all. What better thing to do on an ice-cold, Indy day?
That's me on the ice right there. Seriously, for just a moment, several of the missions, particularly in the downtown Indianapolis area, are expecting to be very busy tonight. Obviously, wintertime is always an uptime for them in terms of the number of homeless people that come in, but tonight with the temperatures going down very low, they do expect to be even busier. Mike and Debbie.
Yeah, Neil, you have all that bagged ice behind you, but what about the natural ice on lakes and rivers? Is that frozen solid now?
We have seen some of that. Today, Bill Fisher and I were out at Eagle Creek Reservoir. Much of that has frozen over. We noticed areas of the White River as well, a flowing body of water, had also begun to ice over, but it is not really safe, and I'm sure the authorities would suggest stay off of the ice and do your skating at places like Pan Am Plaza. Now that we've been here in the veritable warmth of the Polar Ice Company, we're going to leave now and actually get warm, real warm, somewhere else.
You're getting a nice tan there, Neil. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Well, let's check in now with Stan Wood for a look at how much the temperature will be dropping overnight. Stan?
Debbie, that Arctic Express that roared into our state today is bringing with it a load of the coldest air in 2 years. It's going to be a brutal wind chill night. It's going to be life-threatening for people who are outside and who are not protected. So you can expect actual air temperature lows tonight in the Channel 8 viewing area of between 0 and 5 below zero. We couple that with predicted wind speeds of 15 to 20 miles per hour through here, and it adds up to a wind chill equivalent on your flesh of from 30 to 40 degrees below zero. That is the figure that you're going to have to dress for and protect yourself for if you are out and about tonight. And a couple of suggestions. If you know of elderly or handicapped people in your neighborhood, you might check with them by phone to be sure that they're warm, that they have enough fuel and enough food in the house so that they don't have to go outside for the next couple of days. Also, be sure your pets have access to warm, dry bedding and a liquid supply of drinking water. It's rough on all of us. We'll be back and check this rascal out in detail a little bit later and have the forecast toward the end of the week. Any balmy weather coming? Wait and see. Mike and Debbie?
Okay, Stan, thank you. Let's change the subject now. A legislature meeting at the State House dealing with the AIDS crisis, finding more money for roads, increasing workers' compensation benefits, and solving the local measured phone service debate. Just some of the major issues facing the State General Assembly as it begins what Jim Scheller reports could be an unusual session.
Lawmakers returned from 8 months back home to handshakes, welcomes, and an obstacle course in the State House hallways. Scaffolds, fences, and torn-up floors, part of the building's 100-year renovation, had to be evaded in order to reach the opening gavel.
The Senate of the state of Indiana is called to order.
Opening day business was quick and meaningless, with the exception of the swearing in of a new member with a familiar name.
I, Roy Rogers, Jr.,
do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear.
The House Speaker repeated his call for a new emergencies-only attitude in this short session.
And we have no ball teams in today, no resolutions.
But will action be limited and final adjournment come early? We asked the leader of the House Democrats.
I don't think it'll be any different at all.
And the leader of the House Republicans.
I think there's a strong possibility that will happen.
And with gubernatorial campaign managers and potential legislative candidates roaming the hall, will politics take over?
It can become political, but I'm not anticipating that to be the case at this time.
You've got to remember that we're all political animals. This is a political body.
So what are the key issues?
The reform of workmen's compensation laws in this state.
Oh, I think there needs to be some legislation in the area of AIDS.
The real answers aren't far away. The governor's State of the State address has been moved up several days to Thursday to help make a quick start possible. And hearings on major bills will be well underway by this time next week. At the State House, Jim Scheller, Wish TV, News 8.
Tomorrow, the presidents of Indiana state-supported universities will be at the state capitol to tell lawmakers what their needs are.
Well, one issue the legislature will not face this session is legalized gambling. Voters will decide this fall whether to repeal a ban on lotteries in this state. And today, those who oppose a state lottery announced formation of a formal campaign structure to fight it.
With us now is Paul Oakes. He is chairman of Indiana Citizens Against Legalized Gambling. Mr. Oakes, in your announcement today, you said you intend to educate the voters about this referendum. In what way?
Mike, we think there's a substantial misunderstanding in what people are going to vote on next November in the presidential election. The wording lottery is deceptive because we'll actually be voting on gambling, legalized gambling, which opens the door for the legislators to approve parimutuel betting, horse racing, dog track racing, and specifically casinos. And we think that people don't understand that, and we certainly want to educate them to the fact that they could have all forms of gambling in the state of Indiana if they lift the ban on lotteries in November of 1988.
Speaking of the word lottery, we have heard that 80% of the state's residents are open to a lottery. With those sorts of odds, how are you going to fight this, really?
Well, when you say the word lottery, it's again, very deceptive. Once they understand they're going to be voting for gambling, we think that percentage will change. We don't think it's that high. We think it's probably more like 65, 45, something in that area, rather than 80%.
This is going to be an expensive campaign, though, for you. It's a tough fight against odds like that. Do you plan on buying television time? And if so, that's a lot of money. Do you have that kind of money?
We're going to do some television. We're going to do radio, but primarily we're going to go directly to service clubs, churches, schools, and we've developed a tape that we'll be showing with specific detail. And if anybody listens to what we're saying, we think we'll change their minds if they don't really understand what a lottery and gambling's all about.
Okay. Mr. Oakes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Paul Oakes. So coming on News 8 tonight, a faulty furnace forces the evacuation of hundreds of elementary students in northern Indiana. We'll have that story.
And what rights do you as a consumer have when you buy something as is? That's the subject of our Contact 8 segment.
It's beginning to look a lot like the playoffs, but just how fanatic are the fans? I'm David Barris, and we'll show you coming up on News 8.
It's Red Lobster's new seafood trios.
1, 2, 3 seafood favorites on one dish, 3 different tastes, each one delicious.
7 all-new seafood trios starting at $6.95 at Red Lobster.
Good things come in threes.
From all the TV commercials, city people may think farm life centers around fighting weeds. We know better. Maybe that's why Scepter herbicides caught on so well. It lets you forget about broadleaves, even cocklebur, all season. Because there's a lot more to life than worrying about weeds. Ask for Scepter at your Agri-Center dealer.
On the banks of the Wabash we belong. In the fields and the cities we belong. We celebrate our future and we're thankful for our past. Good people are the heart of Indiana. At the crossroads of America, I love my Hoosier home. I love my Hoosier home.
Cash in on value, up to $2,400. Buy a new 88 Sierra or S15 Jimmy or any prior year new S15 pickup and get $500 cash back. Plus, save all year on value packages, up to $1,900 on extended cab S15 pickups. Your total value could be $2,400. GMC Truck meets the challenge.
See your Central Indiana GMC truck and dealer today. Al Reynolds, Greensburg, W. Hare & Son, Noblesville, Welliver GMC, Martinsville, and General GMC, Muncie.
Over 100 students and some of their teachers got a scare today at a Hammond, Indiana elementary school. At least 135 children were evacuated from the Edison School this morning after inhaling carbon monoxide fumes from what is believed to be a faulty furnace. Several of the school children were unconscious when the emergency crews arrived on the scene. The pupils and teachers were treated and released from area hospitals.
Well, Perry Township teachers are feeling very fortunate that they and their students were not in class when a raging fire destroyed a wing of the Abraham Lincoln Elementary School Friday night. As Athalmica reports, the cleanup has begun in earnest and education will go back to basics.
Heavy
Heavy cranes began clawing away at the rubble, removing the entire wing of 10 classrooms destroyed by the blaze Friday night. A faulty heater is being blamed. Inside, smoke and water damage covered floors and walls throughout.
This, we don't know if we can salvage or not. These are our dittos and stuff that we run for the teachers, all the reading dittos and spelling and math and everything. Yeah. And they're black, but they might be all right inside, hopefully.
Staffers have been advised not to move anything from here until it is sanitized.
He said that he wasn't going to worry about us trying to do that. We will start from fresh.
Starting fresh will not be easy since so many records were lost, but aides are hopeful of finding duplicates.
Reading word lists and things like that. So they're hoping that my stuff is okay, so at least they'll have something to start out with. Otherwise, I don't know what we do tomorrow. Ah! That's where all the glue gun and everything. See, I'm glad I brought another box. All that bullet board stuff. You want my big flashlight? Oh, there's one book. This is a health book that's going to be okay.
With or without books, this teacher says the fundamentals are readily available.
Now that we won't have the equipment, we're back to speaking, listening.
Crews painstakingly clean cafeteria tables, which will find a home for at least the next 2 months here at Perry Meridian High School. This basketball floor will become classrooms for 2nd through 5th grades. Teachers got their first look at the modular setting, which will be 1st grade. All have talked with their displaced students who said they were frightened.
And once they found out that we didn't, that we were okay and that we would still be their teachers, they were real accepting of that, and it's okay wherever we're going to be as long as our class is still together.
Some parents have already expressed some concern about the grade schoolers co-mingling with the high school students, but the teachers have already tried to allay some fears by promising that the youngsters will be accompanied by their teacher both in and outside of the classroom.
One teacher has found a lesson in all of this.
Whatever happens, you make the best of it. You make it work for you.
And that's just what 3 tropical fish did, the only survivors of the fire. In Perry Township, Athel Micah, Wish TV, News 8.
And a meeting between Perry Township administrators and parents of Lincoln students is set for 7 o'clock tonight at the high school.
Totals up in the high Cleveland the first time. I hope I have a great time again the second time. In any event, we'll take you to the Colts facility today. A little practice, a little working out, mostly some thoughts about playing Cleveland. We'll also talk about having to beat an opponent twice in the same season. It's a very difficult thing to do. We'll dissect all of that for you. And what do you think was the biggest play of the regular season? Well, I have an opinion. We'll share it with you in sports. Stan, is it going to get any colder than this mess or what?
Oh, yes.
Oh, Stan.
In a word, frigid. That's the immediate outlook.
Yeah.
Is there any help down the way? Well, we'll check the rest of the week's forecast. Now, we realize that while we're telling you to stay in tonight, a lot of folks have to travel out of town and even out of state. So we'll check wind chills not only here, but around Indiana and look around the country, too. Look for snow, we'll look for sunshine, we'll look for warmth. There was a little out there, none here.
Hi, I'm your teeth, and I have a problem. Plaque. In between teeth where brushing can't get. Plaque that can cause early gum disease called gingivitis. Stimudent removes plaque from between teeth with just one hand in 1 minute. It's the Stimudent Minute. It's easy. Try the Stimudent Minute for healthier gums and teeth that can last a lifetime.
Stimudent from Johnson & Johnson to remove plaque with just one hand in 1 minute.
Okay, honey.
Can you tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes?
Hang in there, honey.
Well, some people feel a little sluggish if they're not eating a balanced diet.
Oh, boy, I'm sluggish.
Kellogg's are the only bran flakes with fiber and a full day supply of iron to help balance your diet. And that's one great way to help fight that sluggish feeling. So maybe you can tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes
Great shot, honey.
and who has. Kellogg's Bran Flakes, the fiber and iron cereal.
Every friendly get-together has moments you can't forget. Moments that stay with you, dried in, soaked through. That's when you need the power of protein, Era Plus. Watch Era cut clean through this protein stain. Protein gets out protein, and while nothing cleans every stain, Era cleans many you thought were unforgettable. Era Plus, protein power to cut clean through.
So, Bill, tell me what happened here. Is it as bad as it looks?
This is off the record. I've seen this too many times. There's always one who's too stubborn to put the belt on. Now, we got the woman in the ambulance. She's going to be okay. Her husband was killed instantly. Now, you tell me who was wearing their seatbelt.
The couple was traveling westbound on the highway.
A winter storm pushed snow from North Carolina into New York today, causing a snow emergency in the nation's capital. In Boston, Logan International Airport reopened after heavy snow early today forced it to close for nearly 3 hours. About 40 flights had to be canceled.
And locally, we just received word from Noblesville that Forest Hill Elementary School in Noblesville closed tomorrow because of heating problems there.
I believe that.
That would be tough.
I expect we'll hear more of that before the day is over.
I would think so. This is our really first brutally cold weather of the year.
In about 2 years.
Season, I should say.
Yes, actually. It hasn't been this cold since a couple of years ago, and tonight looks to be the coldest we're going to see this week. But we're not going to get out from under it, except just a little bit toward the end of the week. There's plenty of Arctic air, and we're on the main line right now. Nothing's moving to shift that away, so bundled up, stay in if you can, and watch us because we'll try to keep you abreast of the chilly situation. Our high temperature today, and I hesitate to use that word, but we did reach 828 at the airport, and we're down to a dozen above now. 12 is our low thus far. How much precipitation? Only a trace, as light snow showers reported at the airport. At 6 p.m. in Indy, it's clear and it's chilly. At 12 degrees, air temperature, wind chill 24 below. The dew point is -10. Relative humidity 36%. We've got a west wind at 23, gusting to 36 miles per hour, and barometers piling it on at 30.38 inches of mercury right now. Around the 5-state travel zone, well, that wouldn't be bad for a shoe size, but for a temperature, that's ridiculous. But look at Chicago. It's 3 below zero up there under clear skies, and their wind chill equivalent in the Windy City is 48 degrees below zero. We're getting moderate snow at South Bend. Now, the immediate north-central part of our state is under a snow advisory, the usual lake effect. Northwest winds coming down off Lake Michigan, dumping out there, so maybe up to 3 inches of snow in that little half-moon area around South Bend. The rest of the zone reporting some flurries or light snow showers and generally clear in the south half, and a good deal cooler down there than it is up there. All right, let's go way up there and look at a little bit of snow that came through. Actually, the cold air sliding over the snow fields in the north brought in some clouds early part of the afternoon, and there they are. And we had some little snow bursts here and there, but they didn't add up to very much. They were discouraging enough with the wind being cold and the temperature going that way. So the current map shows clear skies for the most part, and it's going to stay clear under that dome of high pressure for the next couple of 3 days. The surface map indicates the high is still west of it. It's going to be building in here, and it's going to sit right on top of us. That means the coldest air will slide across Indiana later tonight and early tomorrow. Now then, as far as radars around the country, they're getting some snow in the southern Rockies out here. This is mostly rain over California, except in the higher elevations. And then along the northeast, around the Great Lakes and extreme northeast, as you would expect in the cold air there, it is snow. Tomorrow morning, your bacon and egg forecast, and watch your barometer. It's going to be tall. That high will be centered right over Indiana. That means the influx of coldest air will be sliding our way. So look for a bright sunshine, very windy conditions, and bitterly cold readings. By tomorrow afternoon, no change. The high will have slipped a little further east. We'll still have those northwest to west winds, still have our sunshine, and it's not going to be very warm. All right, today's temperatures. This was at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Look at those readings in the upper Midwest, way below zero up there. We were at 17 at that time. 61, the report at Orlando, Florida, while Phoenix was reporting 63 and 67 in Los Angeles. Oh, boy, wouldn't that be nice. The nation's low this morning, 31 below zero at West Yellowstone, Montana. Oh, yes, there were some 80s. 81 at Miami, also at the Air Force Base at Homestead, Florida. They won't see the 80s tomorrow, that's for sure. Now tonight, dangerously cold all night long. How cold? All right. If you're driving up in that area, the air temperature will be between -5 and -10, but with a strong wind, the actual effect on your skin up there, -35 to -45. Here at Mid-State, our low will drop to between 2 below and 5 below. The wind chill will be -30 to -40, and downstate a little better, air temperature of 0 to 5 above, but the wind chill still brutal down there, -15 to -25. Tomorrow's high temperatures, well, pick the spot you like. Florida looks pretty good in the 70s, and the rest of us, it's just going to be cold as the dickens. Okay, the forecast for tonight, clear, windy, colder, overnight low 2 degrees below zero, the wind chill -30 to -40. That's what you got to watch out for. Then tomorrow, a lot of sunshine and no heat, very cold with a high of only 15 degrees. Tomorrow night, clear and cold, but not as cold, the low from 2 to 5 above. And on Wednesday, sunny and continued cold with a high of 18 to 22. Any warm up? Well, let's check Thursday. Partly cloudy and into the 20s, about 30, but a chance of a little snow on Friday, and then we're going to hit another downslide on Saturday. Partly cloudy and a low of 10 above and a high of 20. Well, this is January, and boy, this is winter. It's here.
This is a new year. We don't like it so far.
Well, let's trade back.
Okay, not so sure about that.
Every faucet is dripping. That's probably a good idea.
That's a good idea, yes.
Boy, need that. Coming up in the next half hour, one of the major airlines is cutting its fares 25%.
I'm Eric Halverson. Some merchants predicted 1987's Christmas sales would be slow. Were they? Find out later on News 8.
Terra Treatment Center specializes in the treatment of women with alcohol and drug addictions. For information, call 812-526-2611.
Hi, I'm Jones Chen from LaCroix. Mr. Superstar. And these are my new LaCroix Fresh and Light frozen entrees, 8 in all.
Genius. Just genius.
Oh, it's simple, really. I start with fresh meats. Some others use pre-cooked.
What makes your vegetables so crisp and fresh?
Well, I've packed them separate from the sauce.
He packs them separately.
And all this tastes for under 300 calories.
New LaCroix Fresh and Light frozen entrees. Great name.
I call them Fresh and Light because I make them fresh and light.
For your farm, your family, your piece of America, and everything you're working for, AgriCenter means more.
Your local AgriCenter dealer has a lot more to offer. More experience, more top quality products, more service, more value, more of what you need for your farm.
AgriCenter means more.
Get more at your local AgriCenter dealer.
Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana declares war on prices.
Tent campers, $45.
Trailers, $98.
Motorhomes, $16.9.
Vans, $15.9.
Truck caps, $99.
Nobody beats our bottom line deal.
Mobile homes, $89.90.
Sectional, $16,990.
It's absolutely worth the drive.
I-70, exit 149A, Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana, a sprawling 45-acre complex.
With the largest indoor showroom in the Midwest.
Special RV antifreeze, only $1.99 per gallon.
Daily till 8 p.m.
Closed Sunday.
Time now for Contact 8. Tonight, Mike Andrevet with a report about two simple words that can cause you distress if you're not careful. And you've got to be talking now about used goods, isn't it right?
Used goods are sometimes display goods or models that have been out on the floor. The two words are as is, and sellers use as is to absolve themselves of any responsibility if the widget you buy falls apart shortly after you part with your money, and as is legal.
Anthony Hall put $260 down and bought this 1976 van from Scotch Used Cars.
Needs a new oil pump, lower gasket set, timing chain, timing gear, rod bearings, main bearings, crankshaft.
He bought it from this salesman, clearly marked on the van, in the office, and on the contract, the words, as is.
They signed it. And no warranty. No warranty. So it's kind of whatever. If something goes wrong with the car, they're responsible to fix it up. She'll be back here.
Unfortunately, he's right. As is means the buyer takes the entire risk as to the quality of the goods involved. If the salesman, in spite of the as is warning, makes specific claims about the merchandise, now the buyer has a warranty. Anthony claims that's what happened when he asked this salesman to check the van's electrical system.
They told me they had it put on a machine and there was nothing wrong with it.
Did you rely on that to purchase the van?
Yes.
Would you have bought the van if you were not told that?
No.
Well, the electrical wasn't, but the battery and the alternator was checked on it. That was the only thing. Well, he claims that you told him the whole electrical. No.
Unfortunately, Anthony may have to enforce his claim in court. A watch to illustrate one more point. Joan bought it for her boyfriend. When it didn't work, she tried to return it.
And they said there's no warranty. That's why they sold it that cheap.
Nonsense. If a merchant is not going to warrant or guarantee his merchandise, he must say so clearly in words or print before the sale.
But there are times when you want to buy something as is, so how do you best protect yourself? Number one, find out specifically when you buy what, if any, warranties come with the product. If the contract you are about to sign says as is or words to that effect, but the salesman tells you something else, either believe the contract or get the salesman's promises in writing in that same contract. Finally, remember, if a salesman is limiting the warranty, you are entitled to fair warning. At Contact 8, we are on your side. You can reach me by dialing 266-8228, and that spells contact.
Now, are these as-is words magic, or can you use other words that would fit into that same sort of idea that would work for you?
If you are a seller, as-is the best phrase that you want to use, but any sort of wording that evidences some intent that you don't want to be bound by a warranty. No warranty, as-is, merchandise.
No risk, something
exactly,
like that.
Exactly. And as a buyer, you have to be very careful. If the words are sort of ambiguous, ask the seller some questions. What does this mean? Do I have any warranty? What's the extent of the warranty? How long is it? Questions like that.
We take it your car buyer had no recourse in, is that right?
We're still trying to work something out there, but it doesn't look good because of the as-is warranty.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Christmas 1987 is over now, and it will be a surprisingly memorable Christmas for several local businesses. Tonight on our Money Watch segment, Eric Halverson tells us they've disproven predictions that sales would be slow.
Noisy cash registers are music to retailers' ears, especially at Christmas. The stock market collapse prompted analysts to predict shoppers might be hesitant to spend, but that wasn't the case at LS Ayres.
Our sales plan held true to the form that we thought it would be early in the fall, and we didn't see any evidence of that.
Traditional clothing for women and for men was a big seller here. So was electronic equipment. Books are another Christmas tradition. The people here at B. Dalton believe the economy would make Christmas disappointing, so they were pleasantly surprised.
There wasn't one really hot title, but all of the bestsellers did well.
The toys here did well, too. Better than expected, in fact. And the traditional toys are making a comeback. Their popularity, they say, may be a reaction to all the high-tech toys available elsewhere.
All the interest is supplied by the child instead of vice versa. You know, the children don't just sit and say, entertain me.
Ask Leo Holland if Christmas lived up to his expectations, and you'll get a firm
no.
He sells computers, among other things, and he sold about 30 of these in just the last few days before Christmas. But a stack of less expensive products he calls knickknacks sits against the wall. He says his buyers wanted only big-ticket items.
When you're selling one big-ticket item, when you should be selling 50 of the smaller items, then it just won't, you can't compensate for it.
Holland is lucky that his business is not so dependent on Christmas sales, so maybe January will make up for what Christmas couldn't do. Eric Halverson, Wish TV News 8 on Money Watch.
Well, this is a back-to-work day for many of us, but if you're out of work, Channel 8's Job Track may put you on the right track in terms of finding a job.
Hi, my name is Debbie Mason, representing the Bloomington office of Indiana's Department of Employment and Training Services. The Bloomington office has a current opening for a disabled veteran specialist to assist other veterans, especially those disabled during the Vietnam era. You'll help fellow veterans find employment, direct them to other appropriate services, and develop job or job training opportunities in the area. We encourage honorably discharged veterans interested in this position to call Job Track. Thank you.
For more information, call 232-JOBS.
And coming up next, a health scene report.
It's out with the old and in with the new. The new Hollywood Squares, that is.
You've lost, you've gone over the edge.
They're starting '88 with superstar style.
Some people wear a lampshade, I wear the party.
With Tom Poston.
After making love, do most men feel happy or sad?
I don't remember. Plus Arlene Sorkin, Shadow Stevens, Bart Connor, Jim J. Bullock, and Debbie Gibson. All week on the new Hollywood Squares.
Monday at 7:30 on Wish TV.
Come into Ponderosa and get our new complete meal specials for only $3.99. You can get a tender, juicy sirloin steak. Or a delicious char-broiled chicken breast. Both with baked potato, all-you-can-eat salad buffet, new freshly made home-style soups, and now our all-you-can-eat Sunday bar is included free. You get a lot of food for $3.99. Sorry, we keep the bones.
Uh-oh! Forgot to add the fabric softener. Thanks!
If only she knew about Solo. You can't forget the softener in Solo.
because Solo is detergent and fabric softener in one. Look, these muddy sweatshirts came out clean, but Solo's clean is so soft it's fluffed up higher.
Wait! I missed it.
Next time, get Solo. It cleans with a softness you can't forget.
People's Drug is the big one for photo processing. With every roll of film developed, you get a big bonus 5x7 enlargement free.
Of course, you still save money with 2 sets of prints for one low price, plus a free 5x7 bonus print.
Or for the same low price, you can choose 1 set of prints with a new roll of film, plus a big 5x7 print free. From People's Drug, the convenience you want.
The savings you deserve.
Emergency crews were busy today trying to contain a 90-mile oil slick that threatens the drinking water of 750,000 people in the Pittsburgh area. Pennsylvania Governor Robert Casey has placed the National Guard on alert to deliver emergency water supplies. The diesel fuel spilled Saturday in the Monongahela River when a new storage tank collapsed. 1 million gallons spilled into the river. Utility officials say the water supply to the area is at a dangerously low level now, forcing residents to conserve water. Water trucks dispensed bottled water to 7 towns that were without water today. The cleanup could take weeks. The Internal Revenue Service is reporting that the PTL ministry spent nearly $100,000 more on hush money for Jessica Hahn than originally reported. Payments to the former church secretary totaled $363,000. The payment to Hahn was allegedly made to keep her quiet about a sexual encounter with PTL founder Jim Baker. PTL currently owes at least $55.7 million in back taxes.
And now in health news, if you've ever had stitches or you've known someone who has, then you'll be interested in this little story. It's been recommended by many doctors that you keep the area where sutures have been put into the skin dry to prevent infection, but apparently that's not necessary. Dr. Joel Noe of Harvard University conducted a study where half of a group of patients washed their stitches and the other half kept them dry. Well, it turns out the stitches that got wet produced no more infections than the dry, and healing time remained about the same. Dr. Noe says the advice ought to be wash the wound if you want, if necessary, with soap and water.
And coming up next, Ed Harding with sports right after this.
Who could ever forget the sound of a great fish feast? Now, Long John Silver's presents all-you-can-eat crispy breaded fish, a classic collection of golden hits that never ends. That's right, all-you-can-eat for $3.49. You'll get big, big pieces. Fries, fries, fries. And much, much more. I'm in a crispy breaded mood. Available only at Long John Silver's, where the hits just keep on happening. All-you-can-eat crispy breaded fish for $3.49.
This is the start of an Eye Exam 2000, the computerized vision test. Just one of 20 tests and checks that give you a complete vision evaluation, plus a complete eye checkup, including glaucoma and cataract tests.
Thoroughness is Eye Exam 2000.
Eye Exam 2000, next to LensCrafters, Castleton Square and Greenwood Park Malls, and at the corner of Lafayette and Georgetown Roads, behind Cub Foods.
Cash in on value, up to $2,400. Buy a new '88 Sierra or S15 Jimmy or any prior year new S15 pickup and get $500 cash back. Plus, save all year on value packages, up to $1,900 on extended cab S15 pickups. Your total value could be $2,400. GMC Truck meets the challenge.
See your Central Indiana GMC trucking dealer today. Russ Dillon, Greenfield, Dukes GMC, Anderson, Faust Motors, Tipton, and Jaggers Harris, Lebanon.
Hi there. We were going to put this on the shelf of the family room, and then we realized that we'd have to drill a hole through the back of the bookshelf. You know,
Highland's 30-day, no questions asked return policy means just that. No questions asked. Right now, this RCA 13-inch remote color TV is just $217. It has on-screen display and is backed by Highland's 30-day return policy. Highland, nobody gives you more, and nobody, but nobody, sells for less.
Okay, time for sports. Here's Ed talk about the Colts getting ready for the...
No, I want to challenge you here.
All right.
Oh, if I asked you a question, what was the biggest play of the regular season for the Colts? What would you think?
The biggest
play?
Do you have an
opinion?
Like a turnaround play maybe for the year?
For the whole year, yeah.
Has to be the Miami game.
Well,
the Miami game?
That's not bad. That's not bad. What do you think at home? The biggest play in the regular season, one that really turned the whole season back? Okay, I have an opinion. It's like the nose in front. I have an opinion. Let's show you the tape. I think it happened in the Miami game. I think it's Cliff Odom's hit. Remember, Dolphins going in and put a touchdown on, stop. Colts go all the way back, get 3. I think that was the biggest play of the regular season. What do you think? Yes, no, maybe? New Orleans Saints showed yesterday, play too high, you lose a football game. Colts themselves have already shown that. Too tight against Buffalo, lose a football game. One of your basic classic confrontations Saturday in Cleveland. One team loaded with playoff experience and one void of playoff experience. Welcome to the glamorous world of the NFL. Punter Ron Stark, long snapper Keith Hancock grabbing some practice time in a warm hallway. For most of these players, this is their first hands-on experience in the playoffs.
I'm not pleased right now. I guess I'm the greedy type. You know, I'm glad that we have won, but you know, I'm kind of looking further now. You know, this is the closest maybe I ever get, and we got to take advantage of it. You know.
As you will remember, Cleveland is an opponent that the Colts are familiar with. It was a cold, gray day in Cleveland that the Colts scored what might have been one of the most important wins of the year, a 9-7 count over the Browns. They played a game that they didn't score a touchdown, but they won it. It's a rematch this weekend at Municipal Stadium. The field was a mess. The grounds crew spent the afternoon replacing divots. Because of the uncertainty of field conditions this weekend, Johnny Cooks will bring 3 different kinds of shoes to Cleveland.
If it's real loose and muddy, like, you know, the turf real loose, I wear these with longer cleats. These cleats are not, we have longer cleats that I put in them, and I use it. And if it's like medium, like the ground is like kind of halfway between, I wear something like this. You know, because I won't have to really dig down, won't be much sliding. And if it's like this, I wear my turf shoes if it's like froze, which probably would be a froze field.
Field conditions will not only be unpredictable, it is also an outdoor stadium, and that means players who handle the ball will have to handle the cold and their cold hands.
These, personally, I like better because they have a little stickiness on them, and they fit firmly against your hand. But these, if it's real cold, say like it was outside today, and you use these because these are scuba gloves. I guess it's the same thing as divers use when they dive down deep sea or whatever. And these are kind of bulky, but they keep your hands real warm, and you really don't get a good feel for the ball when the ball hit on this, but they keep your hands warm and loose.
First time around, Eric Dickerson ran straight up for 98 yards. The slop denied him his signature cutback move, and it kept him under 100. And he also lost it once, just at the instant he was breaking clear for the end zone. You know, you owe him about a 73-yard touchdown, right?
Don't so bring it up.
You know that,
I know.
You get a chance to pay him back.
I know it. Well, I don't want to say that to those guys. You know, they have a good defense, and I mean, they look at that film also. They look at the same film we looked at, and they're going to try to clog up any holes or any possibilities of any big runs.
What you remember most about the first Cleveland game is the treatment of Bernie Kosar. He completed less than 50% of his passes. He was sacked 3 times. The Colts put incessant pressure on him, and they beat him.
Thanks to them getting that pressure on him and forcing him to move around a little bit, we was able to hold our coverage on him. Just hopefully the field won't be too soggy we'll be slipping down. But we're going to go after them the same way we did the last game, and we're not going to be intimidated.
They have learned, and also we've learned. So that's going to balance out. Hopefully we go out and apply the same amount of pressure that we did on Kosar last time and come up with some good coverage and bat down the balls.
After game 1, the Colts were barking. Saturday, they'll have to prove again that there's a bite in that bark.
I'm Jim Barber. While the Colts took the bite out of the Browns' bark the first time, today Ron Meyer made it no secret it will be tough for the Colts to do it again. One reason, it's difficult to beat any team twice in a season.
There's no question in my mind that the revenge factor, the motivation factor of having performed in their minds poorly, having had a game denied them that they should have won, I think it's very reminiscent. I think we can all relate to it, to our Charger game here, number 1.
Couple that with the fact that the Browns have said publicly they want another shot at the Colts, and you get the idea. It will be difficult, to say the least, for the Colts to win for the second time at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. Now, beating a team twice in one season is hardly unusual. The more recent example, the Patriots upending the Dolphins, both in Miami and earlier in New England. But beating a team twice at their place, that's rare and tough, considering that team has an outstanding quarterback.
Extremely gifted. You can't underestimate his scrambling ability because he constantly fools you. He's like an alligator on land. You think it can't move until it can run you down.
Meyer says the only area the Browns have struggled with is their field goal kicking. But with the return of Matt Barr, that problem appears to be remedied. And it's just one more advantage Meyer says the Browns will have when the two teams square off again on Saturday. Jim Barber, Wish TV, Sports 8.
Remember, of course, that the Colts beat the New York Jets twice, but one of those wins was against a replacement team here. Dwayne Pickett is likely to play this weekend in Cleveland. Nesby Glasgow will not play. Gary Hogaboom, extremely doubtful that he'll play, meaning Jack Trudeau would start at quarterback this weekend. You know what an oddity is about the AFC playoffs? Houston beat Denver in Denver in the regular season, but that was a replacement game. And the Colts beat the Browns in Cleveland. Rematches, chance to repeat. So how many times are the Minnesota Vikings going to be allowed to pull off Big Ben play, huh? How many times? Remember in the preseason against the Colts at the end of the first half? They pulled it off against the Colts. This has to be, in terms of percentage of success, one of the best teams at Big Ben. There's Buster Rhymes scoring a touchdown. How about the playoffs yesterday in New Orleans? A second chance at the end of the first half. Again, it's thrown up. Wilson, it's somehow, look at all these. Count the black shirts around this guy. Got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at all these. Look, and he gets the ball for a touchdown. How many times are the Vikings going to be allowed to do this? I'm wondering out loud, does Bill Mallory deserve a piece of the Rose Bowl win that Michigan State enjoyed on New Year's Day? Remember this classy act after losing to Michigan State? When he went into the Spartans' locker room, looked each man in the eye, and congratulated them on winning the league and urged them to defend the honor of the conference in the bowl? I'd say Bill Mallory has taught some pretty important lessons all over the Big Ten, all over the country. Purdue, by the way, opens its conference play tonight. They will play at Illinois. IU opens conference play in basketball on Wednesday, and the Pacers playing in Chicago, mañana de la noche.
Thank you for not mentioning the Notre Dame game on the Cotton Bowl. Appreciate that. If you're already planning your vacation, we'll show you some of the hot spots this year.
$5.
Get the boat you want when you see what you like at Ted's Aquamarine.
The best-selling minivan sold anywhere in the world is this van right here, the Plymouth Voyager. And the best place to buy one anywhere in the world is right here at Eastgate Chrysler Plymouth. Let me show you why. For a limited time only, we are sell-pricing our Voyager vans from just $98.95 plus destination. Plus, you get front-wheel drive and a 7-year, 70,000-mile warranty. This is why you'll make your best buy at Eastgate Chrysler Plymouth, just 500 North Shadeland, Indianapolis.
For every farmer in America today,
there's something new going on around here.
there's a brand new name and it means a better way.
Now a good friend has a lot more to offer.
New ideas with you in mind. That new name's a real good sign. AgriCenter means more for your farm, your family, your piece of America, and everything you're working for. AgriCenter means more.
Your local AgriCenter dealer has a lot more to offer. More experience, more top quality products, more service, more value, more of what you need for your farm.
AgriCenter means more.
Get more for your farm, your family, your piece of America at your local AgriCenter dealer.
Beginning January 15th, those Florida Express planes you see at Indianapolis International Airport will be the property of Braniff Airlines. A deal was struck a month ago giving Braniff access to more Florida routes. The airline will now serve 52 cities coast to coast. The merger will also add nearly 2,200 employees to Braniff's 4,800 roster. Braniff paid an estimated $21 million for Florida Express. Domestic air travelers will find lower fares aboard Continental Airlines. The nation's third largest carrier today announced it is lowering some fares by 15 to 20%. Industry analysts say the cuts are designed to stimulate travel during the normally slow first 3 months of the year. The low fares require round-trip travel, a 2-day advance purchase, and a Saturday stay. Other airlines, including Eastern and Northwest, also announced price cuts. Debbie?
Well, as airlines reduce some fares, local travel agents say business appears to be on the increase. And what better time than on a frigid day to take a look at what's hot on the 1988 vacation scene. News 8's Leslie Olson did just that.
The travel advertisements certainly are tempting. Who could resist Florida?
This is Florida. The rules are different here. In Florida, however, you are permitted to run around in your shorts.
In fact, report local travel agents, if you want a spring break in Florida, you may be too late already. But in competition with Florida in '88 may be Texas and Arizona and the ever-popular Caribbean cruise.
They cater a lot to families because a lot of the cruises have good children's programs. They cater to young people, single people, elderly people.
In competition with cruises is a fairly new kind of vacation, time at a super club resort, a deal we Hoosiers are taking advantage of in large numbers.
The club resorts are if somebody wants to go to a specific place, stay, have everything paid for, not have to worry about drinks, cigarettes, meals, everything is inclusive.
And both travel agents we spoke with agree Hawaii is still considered the dream vacation by many. Dr. E.K. Stuckey, for example, has been to the Hawaiian Islands before, but never his wife.
Well, I want to get away from this kind of weather for a change.
Where do you plan to go?
Maui and Oahu.
And when News 8 recently sent a crew to Hong Kong, it was apparent why the Orient is among the trendiest of vacation hotspots. The dollar goes a long way.
Hong Kong is very popular, especially for the women who like to shop, and Thailand and Japan tend to be the most popular spots in the Orient right now.
The verdict is still out on Europe. Agents say winter deals have been good, but it's too early to tell about summer travel.
And for those of us who have to stay here and endure this cold weather because we spent all of our money or all of our vacation time or both, well, we might take comfort in the knowledge that our traveling friends, they could face bad sunburns, windburns, and maybe even Montezuma's revenge. I'm Leslie Olson, Wish TV, in cold Indianapolis.
Yes.
It is.
And coming up next on News 8, we're going to take a look at what you might call some interesting watercolors after this.
Sir, would you choose hamburger A Wendy's hamburger that's made fresh, or B, one made earlier so it's dry?
B, it's like Mom's. I remember she'd make dry roast beef, dry gravy, cake.
But most people don't like dry food.
Yeah? Maybe that's why Dad left.
Most people like the taste of hot and juicy hamburgers, like Wendy's, the best burgers in the business.
Try something hot off the range. Wendy's.